up, warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today I've got a quick one for you, and that is going to be going through a relatively brutal 5-minute hip flexor stretch. Now this one will be done in a follow along format so you can get yourself set up and we can dig right into this. Now dig is the important word here because the hip flexors, that group of muscles, because it's not just one muscle, it's to do with the quadriceps, the hip flexors, and also the psoas, are going to limit your hip extension. Now these muscles often don't get stretched at the depth or the intensity that is needed to develop good range. There's almost many layers to this fascia, and spending more time in a stretch, especially with the focus that we're going to do in today, is going to help peel back those layers and go deeper. I will warn you though that this one, as I said, is a brutal stretch, is a pretty intense stretch, so it's worth working this one at an intensity that you can handle, because remember, you've got to hold each side for 5 minutes. That's a long time to sit in a stretch. I also want to give credit where credit is due when it comes to this video, because a lot of this information that is informed this particular setup is from Kit Lachlan and his book, which I've recommended in my top books video. So I'll link to him, his YouTube channel, and that book down below. For the stretch, you're just going to need a wall, a mat, and ideally a stick as well. And that's basically it. You also might want to consider a brief warm up. For this one, I would do just a handful of some bodyweight squats. And then I would also combine that with a couple of long lunge extensions, which I'm going to demo now. And you can do these again, about 5-10 per side of each of these. And that should be enough to get things warming up. And then we'll get into the stretching and we'll progressively intensify the stretch over this 5-minute mark. Now this stretch is made up of 3 different positions. In each of these positions, we're going to perform 3 repetitions. 1 rep is going to be made up of 2 10-second contractions, both the agonist, the muscle being stretched, and the antagonist, the shortening side of the muscle, and then followed by 10 seconds relaxation. Now there's not much time for me to talk you through each position and why and feeling it out. So use the first rep of each position as a bit of a feel out, and then focus on the contractions of the 2 subsequent reps in each position. This may just take you a couple of attempts to actually get used to the stretch. I wouldn't do a couple of attempts in a row. 1 is more than enough per day. Good luck. So let's get ourselves set up in this position. Now make sure this first position is somewhat comfortable because you're going to be keeping it throughout this stretch. So it needs to be tolerable and not too intense. We're going to start off with a wall quad stretch, and the distance with your knee from the wall is going to determine the intensity here. So set yourself at a point in which you can stand quite nicely. Set your pelvic tilt so that your hips are tucked under. And then from here, we can begin those contractions. The first contraction is kicking the foot into the wall. So we're going to try and think about trying to straighten that leg, but obviously the wall is in our way. We're going to keep holding this contraction and keep pressing the foot into the wall. We're going to immediately follow this up with a glute squeeze effort where we're going to try and even more posteriorly tuck that pelvis under, and again keep that strong contraction of the glutes throughout, followed by just a relaxation. We're just going to sit here. So this is the first rep of this position done, and it should be, a moderate intensity, and then we can work up the intensity of those contractions over the next couple of reps. So again, let's kick that foot into the wall. Maybe the first rep was 50-60%. This time we're looking for that a little bit more, but we're looking for also the stretch to go away slightly. Now again, the glute squeeze for 10 seconds, real focus on tilting those pelvis under. The quality of contraction is what's important here. So keep squeezing those glutes. And then again, that relaxation. We're looking for this stretch in the quad in particular to dissipate. We can try and shuffle a bit deeper if we want to, letting the ankle come to the side of the glute before we final rep of this position. So press that foot into the wall, keep the contraction solid. Again, this should be seeing the dissipation of that stretch over the quad. Glute squeeze, max effort of the posterior tuck. This is when you feel the stretch deepen to its most in this position. And then we're going to do 1 final relaxation for 10 seconds in this shortened position before we move to the next position. So at this point, we should feel much less of a stretch on the quad than we did to begin with. From here, we're going to drop forward and come onto the hands and let the knee of the front leg drop out if we have to. We don't want to be arched here. We want to maintain a nice neutral spine and almost, again, tucking that pelvis under. We're now going to start the first contraction, which isn't a kick into the wall, but it's actually going to be trying to pull the knee up towards the chest. So maintain that contraction. Try not to let the knee actually move, but try to keep the pull of the knee going. We're then going to combine that with a glute squeeze again, but also going to add in the element of a slight hamstring curl here. So we're going to try to pull that heel towards our glute. And again, 10 seconds relaxation. So that's again the first rep
in this position. Done. Now it's time to perfect those contractions here. So again, let's pull that knee up towards the chest. Try to feel a contraction of the hip flexor in the lengthened position. And then immediately superset with the glute squeeze hamstring curl. Now you can try to start lifting the foot off the wall here, or the bench, whatever it's supported by, but we don't want to be to the point in which we're cramping, because that's going to take us out of the stretch. So just look for the strong contraction, and then another relaxation where you want to try and shift deeper, move those hips forward, but again, not arching through the back. One last contraction here, try to pull the knee forward towards the hands, work up to a nice contraction here. We can even think about it in the abdominals as well, trying to pull the belly button in. Final glute squeeze hamstring curl effort. Try to lift that foot off the wall if you can do. And again, maintain good glute squeeze before relaxing for our final 10 seconds in this position. So we're going to now slowly move to the next position. We should feel quite a bit of relief from the stretch over the quad over the hip flexor to begin with. And now we're going to use the stick to help us stay more upright, but keep this extended hip position. The next contraction we're going to repeat is the same as the first. We're going to try and kick that foot into the wall behind us. Try and maintain that kick before then combining it with, again, the glute squeeze. But when we're squeezing our glute, we're also going to try and think about pulling our opposite shoulder back to the foot that is on the wall. Then again, 10 seconds relaxation here in this position. Trying to sink those hips deeper down. I actually like it with the stick over the opposite shoulder to help with this twisting action. Again, let's start with the kick into the wall. Focus on trying to straighten that leg out, but the kick is also going to be pushing the hips forward. Next, squeezing the glute, even adding that slight hamstring curl element, but squeezing the glute is the most important thing. You want to imagine that that glute is pushing the hips further down. After this, again, another relaxation phase where we're going to try and inch deeper, certainly trying to think more about pulling the hips down deeper and arching through the back. One final rep here, so let's start again with the kicking the foot into the wall, maximum contraction. Again, now on these last 3 reps, we're going to be thinking about trying to sink those hips down deeper using the contractions. So now the glutes, think about the glutes pushing the hips, tucking the pelvis under, deepening the stretch. And then finally we can relax. Now when we're relaxing here, we're going to hold it for about 30 seconds or so. We're going to use the stick, we're going to hang off the stick, and we're going to let that stick push us back deeper into the stretch and arching. I just want you to breathe now. Breathing is the most important thing. We should be doing this throughout, but especially in this last relaxation phase, just keep the breathing nice and deep. And that is your 5-minute hip flexor stretch. Get ready to repeat on the other side. Go back to the time that is on the video and follow along on the other side. Hope you enjoy this one.
And that's basically it. That is the stretch for today. Let me know what you thought of this one. I personally think it is, as I said, a brutal stretch, but it definitely peels back those layers and gets in deeper than most other hip flexor stretches that I've experienced in the past. This can be maximized as well using some partner stuff, but unfortunately with COVID, that wasn't an option today. So if you gave this one a go, I would love to hear your feedback on it. Let me know how you got on with the stretch. Did it help you see through time, as Emmett Lewis would say? I'd love to hear your experience. Let me know in the comments section down below. If you just enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. But that has basically been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and